It's 7 o'clock. We'll begin the meeting of the USD 290 Board of Education meeting. Looks like we have 6 members present. We'll begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Board members, you've been sent an agenda. You've seen it. Does anybody want to make a motion?
Move that we approve the agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We approve the agenda. I may be stumbling tonight. I don't know about any of you guys, but this time change thing, if I nod off during any of the presentations, it's just because I haven't really adjusted. Anyhow, it's been moved and seconded. We approve the agenda. All those in favor raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Passes 6-0. We have some outstanding Ottawa High School advanced physical science students that are here, and there'll be a presentation. Is that correct?
We want to recognize them.
Yeah, and you know, I'm really kind of disappointed. You guys were like doing a projectile across the room a certain distance. I was really kind of hoping we could do that tonight, recreate that. Yeah.
Can I make a motion that they go get their stuff and come back?
I think that'd be really cool.
They did try to take out some lunchroom features, so I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, I don't think you should be using it. Do not use it for violent means. But as you can see on the board, on February 20th, they were in a competition at KU, and 2 of our students did extremely well, and we're proud of all of you. And I don't know how you guys do that stuff. I mean, that amazes me that you can gauge that just right and get it to go right where it's supposed to go. That's amazing. So, round of applause. Yeah,
Stand up. Stand up. We are so proud of you.
Yeah.
Thank each of you for your hard work.
Fantastic.
Great job. Yeah. Yay. We also won an early childhood award. Mr. Ray, would you show the district won an early childhood award on Friday. So.
Our inclusive efforts in changing our preschool program into a fully inclusive model.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that was nice recognition. We're doing some things right. Consent agenda. I have many items on there. Do you have questions, concerns, or ready for a motion?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I just, minutes, we were chatting, and it said, the minutes for February 9th, 5.04 board reports, it stated that I made a speech at the chamber dinner, which I did not. That was my smoking and drinking speech at the legislative
That's
conference.
the legislative coffee. That's right. Include smoking and drinking.
We're so pleased, Linda, that you are up on smoking and drinking. So proud.
And how the taxes will get us out of it.
Oh, I see.
That was my speech.
I see. I understand.
Drinking won't get us out of it.
I thought it was an advocacy of smoking and
No, I
drinking.
basically said that we cannot smoke or drink our way out of
Right.
this hole.
So with that change to the minutes, is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda. with
Second.
revisions.
All right.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Passes 6-0. Comments from the public. We do have 2 individuals that would like to address the board. Alicia Stroop, am I saying that right? And Carrie Mateel. And we ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes and please not identify any individual. And you can just step right up here. That way we can hear you clearly.
Okay, I'm not very good at public speaking, but we are coming to you guys because we would like to have something changed. We are both Central Heights employees. My husband graduated from Central Heights. I work for Central Heights. My kids attend Central Heights, but we fall in the in USD 290 district, and we're trying to get that changed because we'd like to be able to vote on the issues that affect our children and affect my employment. I mean, shoot, I'd like to be able to vote for our board members, and where I'm sitting now, I can't do any of that. So, I mean, we talked to Mr. White, our superintendent, and he is all for it, but we would like you guys to help back us. The way my property line falls, we fall right here. There is no road there, so I don't know why, when they drew the lines up, why they didn't make it a road. But some of our acreage we own sits on this side, and we sit over here. When we built, if we would have known that back then, we would have built on USD 280 line, because we want our kids to graduate the same place my husband graduated.
We live just across the road from the Stroups. We are a quarter mile out of district. My husband and I both graduated from Central Heights. We went to Ottawa through our 5th grade year and loved it. It's not an issue of that at all. Enrolled our daughter in preschool and realized we were not in district. Didn't know that when we bought it. The people we bought it from said, yes, our kids go in district, you'll be set. And when we went to enroll, we got an out-of-district letter saying we were not in the district. We just want to be able to vote for issues that affect our kids and their future. I guess that's all.
Okay, I appreciate it. Board members, anybody wishes to put this on a future agenda? If not, will you give them a written response from our board? I appreciate that, and thank you, ladies, for coming and speaking to us. I know that's not easy. And we have no other comments from the public. Moving on to reports and presentations, there's a Dean Grell that's been listed here.
That's me.
Oh, that's you, okay. I like the haircut.
Thank you very much. I'm going to jump back and forth with the computer
Okay.
and expand a bit on how the computer RFPs went. We went out for bids recently. We received 6 bids from 6 different vendors. And of those 6, 5 of them met the requirements that we specified. I don't know how hard it is to read an RFP and address it and answer it properly. Of those 5, 3 were deemed competitive. And of those 3, 2 of them actually sent us demo machines to try out. We were sent a 3rd demo machine, but it was one that did not meet the requirements. And they are all up in my office still being tested. The 3 that were competitive were the 2 up on the screen right now, ByteSpeed and DACTech. And the 3rd one was the Sterling computer. That's going to be the second to last. I believe you guys have these spreadsheets available to you. The ByteSpeed machine on our rubric scored a near perfect 95 out of 100. We graded it on several different features, mainly meeting the bid specification. Here I'll show you the rubrics that you also have a copy of. Suitability of the proposal. The proposed solution meets the needs and criteria set forth in the RFP. A value pricing structure. The price is commensurate with the value. The bid is competitive. The proposal presentation, just a professional, how it was presented to us, and candidate experience to make sure we're not getting someone that this is their first project. When you look at the numbers, what each machine cost, the ByteSpeed machine cost $516 per machine. And the way it's presented on this spreadsheet is a bit misleading. You'll see it says $504 per machine, but that didn't include the mouse and the keyboard like all the rest of them did. So the ByteSpeed machine was $516 per machine with a 5-year warranty, which included free imaging, asset tagging, and an on-site parts closet, and those are huge to us. The free imaging, basically we spend about 3 to 4 hours creating our base image, and then we upload it to each machine, which takes about 30 to 45 minutes per machine, and we can do about 4 at a time with our current infrastructure. What this allows us to do is create that image, send it off to the manufacturer, and they will deliver them all imaged for us. So that saves an immense amount of time for us. The 5-year warranty is unheard of. 3 years pretty typical. And you'll see DACTech even provided a 7-year warranty. No questions asked. If any part breaks within that 7 years, they will replace it. The on-site parts closet provides us with 5 common components, quantity 5 of those 5 components on site. So if we have a hard drive go down, we can swap it out and then RMA the hard drive, and we'll have an instant backup and running computer, which is also unheard of. These 2 companies, their pricing structures are so similar, and they're in the same region of the U.S. I'm not sure if they're even the same company or what, but they're just so spot on with their add-on prices and everything. The Sterling machine that we deemed competitive was one of the cheapest at $418 per machine, and that was a standard 3-year warranty. It didn't include the imaging. It didn't include the repair shipping either. That was a cost for shipping for repairs. That was part of the RFP, but we let it slide just to get a third one in there to grade. Based on the spreadsheet, I would suggest the Byte Speed machine with the 5-year warranty versus the 7-year warranty, for the main reason being the form factor and how it lays on the desk. The DACTech machine can lay sideways, and the intake fan is facing up, and there is a filter there that would have to be cleaned every year. That filter can also, if that is facing up, it's going to catch paper clips. It could get covered, it could get clogged, and cause more problems. So based on the spreadsheet, I would suggest the Byte Speed machine with the 8 gigabytes of RAM upgrade for $36 per machine, and the Intel solid-state drive at $20 per machine for a total of $572 per machine. Both of those add-ons are not clearly 100% essential, but they will definitely future-proof these machines. The solid-state drive, when we placed that in the machine, which we got the demo machines with the traditional spinning drive, which we have in all the schools now, and the solid-state drive as well. On boot up, the solid-state drive is about 15 seconds. On boot up with the traditional computer, it's about 30 to 35 seconds. So not only does it keep your boot up faster, it keeps you more productive, you can get more stuff done quickly, increase productivity. So our total comes to $154,440 for 270 machines. And that's our number that we would like to propose moving forward, which I don't think it's an action item tonight. Okay. E-rate bids were compiled, and our vendors were selected as of 15 minutes ago. We actually had several competitive bids, and we are waiting for our consultant to sign off on our bids and verify that all of our numbers are accurate, and they'll send it to USAC, and hopefully we get approval for some infrastructure upgrades for next year. But we had some very competitive bids. They were all fairly close, so it came down to almost a vendor preference with previous relationships, which is one of the grading criteria. Our spam filtering, we've had some issues recently with our spam filtering. The way it currently works is our email comes to our Lightspeed appliance, and then that moves to our Gmail new system and gets filtered twice. We are getting some mail lost in that transition, just the spam mails. So our proposal is, over spring break, we're going to evaluate this, and we plan to eliminate the Lightspeed spam filtering side and move forward with just the Gmail filtering. And what that provides for us is every day our teachers have an email in their inbox right now that says, hey, this is spam, do you want it or do you not want it? And sometimes that email was getting missed, or it was being miscalculated, and there were some spams that were missing from there. So this Gmail solution will allow us to have all of those emails always show up in their spam mailbox. So they will always have a list. They don't have to check and wait for something. They don't have to wait for this report every day. Several school districts around us are doing the same thing when they have switched to Google. They're using just the one filtering, and it'll take a load off of our filtering appliance, our Lightspeed appliance. That's all I have. Any questions regarding any of that?
One question on your, not to pinch pennies, but the $5 and $7 for the board and mouse. Does the existing computers, are those mouses and keyboards workable, or are they so beat up that they're really not worth anything?
They could be reused. There'd be a deep cleaning on them. They get used and abused. We'd have to inventory and see how many we actually have that are still serviceable. We could break it out. We definitely could if we needed to pinch pennies.
Or I was thinking the backup, if you have something, you need a backup keyboard, you'd have it.
Right.
Your old ones, but I didn't know if they were usable or not. Sometimes
Right.
keyboards hang on and sometimes they don't.
And we're developing a plan for the surplus computers and how many to keep on site, how many to surplus, how many to part out. We're still talking about that actively.
This count that you had, the 270, is that bare bones? Does that include like 10, 15 extra computers?
Yes, there's a pad there for extra computers, and there's also a pad there for Jason Circle's lab, which is in dire need of an upgrade.
One question.
Yeah.
Is the 80 gig enough, or do you want to go to
The 80 gig is plenty. The 80 gig for a boot drive, we have, it's really hard to find anything smaller than a 500 gig spinning disk anymore, and those drives are just, they would never get used. We store everything on the file servers, and these are staff computers only. Anything that does get stored locally on the computer, we've been telling our staff that that's not stuff that we back up, so it encourages them to save to the file server. With the addition of our Google Drive, which allows us unlimited file sharing in the cloud, and that is truly unlimited. We're making a push for people to start using that a little more, and that'll be backed up every night. So
The 4 gig RAM is enough?
we did the 8 gig upgrade as a quote on there. You'll see that one was $36 per machine for the byte speed, and the current 4 gig stick that we spec'd out on those is probably just enough. The 8 gig stick is going to open up more future-proof. It's going to last a little longer. Your computer's right in front of you, probably have 2 to 4 gigs in them right now. And the 8 gig, the way it's specified on there, it's a single stick, so we can actually upgrade again to 16 gigs in 5 years if we had to get by a little longer.
Other questions?
Thank you.
And this will be on the agenda for your approval on the 23rd. I'll do 603 first.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
So we'll go to legislative update from Dr. Stroh, and this is a bunch of interesting news.
Yeah. That's pretty nice.
That's,
You're scaring me.
well, we're waiting for Dr. anyway.
Yeah, he will be here at 7:40. He's doing a presentation in Wellsville, so I'll entertain you until he gets here with school finance. First and foremost, I want to say that this is a proposal, and House Bill 2403 and Senate Bill 273 are virtually the same. And I want to share that information with you. I sent you an email on Saturday. We've been working on this as superintendents with KSDE since probably Thursday afternoon. And so there are lots of moving parts. This is what was put before the Senate and the House of Representatives for testimony today. And so I want to share with you what's in here, but I want you to understand above all that it's a proposal and that there's good things and bad things in this proposal, and some things will likely change. The testimony today at the House of Representatives included KASB, along with parents, community members, school superintendents, budget directors, and community members who testified against this bill. And those who testified in favor included the Kansas Policy Institute, the Kansas Chamber of Commerce, and the Tea Party. Those were the 3 entities that were in favor of this. So,
I think those are interchangeable.
could be. So I also want to tell you that over the weekend, there was a lot of emails and Twitter, and everything was just a buzz with superintendents in terms of what this all means. So I think that we have at least a beginning understanding of what's going on with this block grant proposal. And again, things will change a little bit. You'll remember back last spring, we had House Bill 2504 was passed to address the equalization that was ordered by the Supreme Court. And in that equalization funding, they instructed us that we needed to drop our local mill rate. And at that time we did. We moved ours down 3.4, and we were able to move 3 mills over to capital outlay and 1.9 over to bond and interest, because we had authority to do that. And that was because the state had said in House Bill 2504 or 2506, I believe it was, that they would equalize the payments so that we would not lose money. Okay, I remind you of that because less than a year later, this is what happens. In both House Bill 2403 and Senate Bill 273, this is the proposal. First, restore the governor's allotments. You'll recall that back at the end of February, the governor ordered allotments, which is government for cuts. and we stood to lose $864. And so that is being restored with this bill. And that's good. Another good part is that there are flexibility with our funds. In other words, we've had a number of rules and regulations that apply to our at-risk funding, our LOB, and our capital outlay. We have a lot more flexibility, particularly with our at-risk funding. Okay, that's a good thing. That helps us. That helps kids. It locks in the current capital improvement funding. That's our bond and interest state aid. And that has been a law for a very long time, and that law continues. That's very good news for us and districts across Kansas. We have a bond election coming on April 7th, and that 42% state aid would continue on. That's critical for us. It's critical for our community to understand that. This bill adds new facilities weighting for buildings that are open 2015-16. And I got pretty excited about that. So I talked to Dr. Nineswander and I said, hey, do I need to start building this evening? And he said that the building has to be open on September 20th, 2015. But, so I don't think I can do that. But he said that there's great interest in continuing this and adding years in the next couple of years. So they're just kind of messing with this, playing around with this facilities weighting. As you recall last year, that went away. And only districts that already had new facilities weighting money, which is different than the state bond and interest money. But this new facilities weighting money is based on a formula, how many kids are in a classroom, in a brand new classroom, okay? Not remodeled, brand new. So I was happy to hear that the legislature will consider this particular clause next year and the following year.
Would our new science wing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, any new facility. Okay, so yes, so let's say we build the 6 new classrooms, science classrooms. We get money every hour for every kid that's in those 6 classrooms.
And as our auditorium is used throughout the day, would that
Yes,
also?
and it's different because it wouldn't be classified necessarily as classrooms, although the way we have it planned, we could use a part of it as classrooms. Now, just to be clear, right now, as the block grant proposal stands, this new facilities weighting would only be for buildings that were open September 20th, 2015. But it looks very positive that this might be something that they would consider next year and the following year.
Should we close Eugene Field and put a bunch of modulars in there?
You could, modulars count as new building.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Put
But
up
then
with
you
it.
have to have the money to buy the modulars. So,
Just a thought.
yeah, a little creativity, thank you. And so, I'm going to tell you here down the road, you can see there's some negative numbers. So I'll share that with you as well. Another thing about this bill is the LOB state aid can go into general fund. That's helpful. You can't carry over money in LOB. Dr. Nineswander told me today that there will be no limit on what you can carry over in general fund, and that's new.
Yeah.
Now, we're having a lot of money taken away from us, so it's not going to be, we're not going to have much to carry over, but at least we have that flexibility. So that could help us. Not this year, but in 2016, 15, 16, and 16, 17.
Sorry.
We would gain $18,665 additional funding for our virtual program. They're refiguring how they calculate virtual school. So that would be a little bit of help. Unfortunately, there's more bad news than there is good news. So the next 3 rows shows you what KSDE projects our losses to be. What you see in the black numbers going across is what we are slated to get with this new block grant proposal. Below in the red, you will see the difference, the 140,915 and the 148,548. Both of those are losses that we will realize based on what we expected. So we were expecting that additional funding for our equalization. So if you're thinking, the court ordered that we receive this money, we dropped our mill rate, we did, and now we're not getting this money. It ends up to be $289,000. And that is for the next 3 years. This school year, 2015-16, 2016-17. Okay?
So were the allotments given in one hand and taken away in the other? Pretty sort of?
They didn't even quite get it in our hand.
Yeah, but I mean.
Yes, yeah. They promised it. They promised it. They said, here's your equalization. It passed the court's test, and now, not even 8 months later, they're saying, oops, can't have it. Yeah.
Didn't get to touch it.
Didn't even get to touch it. What you'll notice is that state aid for capers goes up remarkably. Okay? Now, what I want you to remember in the days ahead is that of all the things that change, that's less likely to change. They are going to have to put more money in capers. And while they deposit into our general fund, it's only there for a few minutes, and it goes back to them. But the state is going to claim that that's state aid that they give us, and truly it's not. A few years ago, that money was just kept at with capers. So when people hear, that the state legislature and the governor added money, this is what they're talking about. They added money, yes, but it isn't really ours. It didn't used to be ours. It's just a shell game, okay? So you'll notice that every year for the next 3 years, this year included, and the 2 additional years, that we're losing a significant amount of money. So you want to scroll down a little bit. There we go. Okay. So here on the bottom, I've tried to summarize. And again, I want to say this is a proposal. The people who testified today for the House of Representatives indicated that they felt like they were listened to, and that it may be the case that this doesn't get through the House of Representatives. I think people are less optimistic about what might happen in the Senate. So I would encourage everybody, board members and audience members alike, to contact your House of Representatives person and let them know that we're not willing to lose this kind of money. Okay, so our loss for this year is $289,463. Now, we had already planned a month ago to lose $139,864. So, if we take that away and say, okay, we knew what we were going to do about that. So now our new plan has to account for $149,599. Okay? Then in subsequent years, our loss will be $270,799 each of those years. And that's because we're getting a little bit more in our virtual school program, virtual program. Okay? Now, one of the losses that a district like ours will see is that we're projected to grow between 10 and 20 kids, probably around 15. We grew about 20 kids this year. We will get no additional funding for those kids. And that's a big deal. Now, they told us today on the conference call that there's a provision for extreme cases. So if we grew by 100 kids, we might get a little extra money. But 20 kids won't do it. Probably 30 kids won't do it. So everything is based on our enrollment this past past September 20th. So, questions that you have, comments that you'd like to make?
If this does pass, what guarantee will we still get divot in the road called the 600 million. Have they talked about if this passes, will we get our checks?
They have not, and Dr. Kraus and Mrs. George and I talked this afternoon after the conference call, and we feel certain that we'll have mid-year cuts next year in addition to this because of that very reason. I know many other superintendents who are planning for significant mid-year cuts because it's just impossible. They don't have the money unless they find a revenue stream somewhere.
And with the extra funding they're putting in capers, which is an in and out.
Yes.
How does that, is any of that being funded by the bonds they're wanting to issue, or is this really cash coming in through the state's general fund to fund the capers?
You know, that's a great question, Dennis. I'm not sure at all about those pension bonds, how that's supposed to work. What I do know is that the expectation is that the only way those pension bonds will work to fund capers is if they can make 8% a year. And I guess I don't see that happening, but
I guess they haven't listened to Dave Ramsey, have they?
I guess not, or read any finance books. So part of this whole thing is that they're trying to make school finance easier. They'll tell you over and over, many people will tell you over and over how complicated the school finance formula is. And what I can tell you is that in my heart, I'm a kindergarten teacher and I get it. And this is a 91-page document. And so I don't think this is less complicated. So another big part of this is that I think you got an email from me Thursday or Friday talking about the Supreme Court has refused to hear the appeal. And so that has been sent back to the district court. And so the district court will most likely make a ruling and order the equalization, which is the money we're losing, and also order the adequacy. And in that adequacy decision, the district court said that the state legislature should not mess with the school finance formula, that it was, that it took into account kids from all zip codes, and it addressed adequacy. And they actually gave a number, base state aid per pupil, which was well over $4,000. And talked about the weightings, and this doesn't take any of that court decision into account.
Will the court make a decision before the end of our legislative session?
I doubt it.
I didn't think so.
I doubt it. And I think, as Dennis stated earlier, I think the issue is that, we talk about this and we make plans for the loss that we will see. But we know that there's still a $600 million deficit that hasn't been addressed.
Plus, we have a court decision coming down, and so we're basically in limbo. Really, if you look
In a lot of ways.
at the block grant and the school funding formula that we have now, plus the court decision, we're just out there.
We're just out there, yeah.
Over a cliff.
Using simple math, if where this puts us, look, and again, I might be off, so help me, correct me, but if we're looking at losing $271,000 the next 2 years, $289 this year, round numbers, we got about $1.1 million in our cash reserves. We would be status quo with no real increase in any operating costs the next 3 years, and we could basically pay our bills and break even.
Exactly. And one reason we have cash reserves is so that when the state pays us late, we can still make payroll. We have cash reserves so that if something big happens, we can take care of it. We have cash reserves because we don't get our special education payment until October, but we have to pay our debts in August and September and October before we get that funding. So later in the agenda today, we're asking you, excuse me, to pass a resolution so that we can broker CDs. That will help us a little bit. We have some other plans in place. I've sent you information in your board update about some things that we are considering doing. Another thing that we're going to ask you to do on March 23rd is approve a contract with our local co-op so we can lock in fuel prices for transportation. We've been fortunate to have a very mild winter. And so our cost for utilities is down. There have been a number of things this year that have happened, good, bad, and ugly, but we've been able to save some money. This isn't going to happen each of the next 2 years. I asked staff to take home refrigerators and little heaters and those kinds of things. That will save us a few $1,000s every month, and over a period of a year, that's a significant amount of money. And so those things help, but it's awfully hard to get to the $289,000, and especially year after year after year.
Well, and the frustrating part is the legislators up there look at districts like ourselves that say, well, they've got some cash reserves, spend it down. Well, that's our savings account for when they do bad things to us.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
if they keep having school districts spend down their cash reserves, there's not going to be anything to run districts on.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So it isn't a pretty picture, but again, there are some positives. Being able to have that flexibility is good. Being able to feeling comfortable that our bond and interest aid will continue is a huge deal. And that the new facilities waiting might be extended into the next few years would be very helpful to us. And in the meantime, we'll keep watching and listening, and please contact your legislators and tell them what your thoughts are. And we'll be waiting for the district court to make a decision and hope that the legislature abides by what the district court asks them to do. So, any other questions that you have?
I just hoping they'll listen because they didn't listen to 190 letters on resolution.
Right.
That's exactly right. 194 resolutions were passed in the state of Kansas asking the Senate not to change school board elections, and 10 in our very own district, in our very own Senate district, and that passed,
How many districts in Senator Tyson's district, how many are in her area?
10 districts passed. I'm not sure.
Is it 12 maybe?
Maybe 11 or 12 districts total, but 10 of them passed the resolution to keep elections where they are. So,
As long as they're representing their constituency, that's all I ask.
Who is their constituency?
Any other questions? The superintendent? Thank you very much.
thank you.
We'll talk a little bit about board reports. Has anybody seen, heard, or felt something they'd like to share?
Well, I've had a good time. I've had a good time
Well,
this
the
last
smoking and
week.
drinking, I would think, would be a good
It was
time.
great. I got to read during Dr. Seuss Week at Eugene Field School, and I
good.
found out Dr. Stroh had been there Monday. And it was great. That's the thing I miss the most about teaching is reading to the kids, and it was a really good time. And then middle school site council, we had that Thursday, and then of course the legislative coffee on Saturday.
How'd that go?
Better than last time.
I'll just say, we're very lucky to have Representative Finch. as our
Yes.
representative.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
He's well-spoken, very thoughtful, and takes his job and his role in the most important way, making decisions that benefits his community.
I agree.
He's
And
just
listens.
refreshing, yes. And he understands, and he's so smart. Yeah, we are very fortunate.
And he actually answers your question.
Yeah, and he can explain it to us in a way that we can understand. He's terrific.
He is.
But has he ever eliminated any phone jacks? I want to know that.
I do
curious.
think he's smart enough to know that I shouldn't be allowed to go out and buy a handgun without any training, Bill.
Okay. Any other board reports, Tim?
I also did the Dr. Seuss reading, I think, after the two of you last week. And then they also had at Eugene Field a Dr. Seuss night. And and Dr. Stroh was there, as well as Kevin and Troy from DLR. And it was a pretty good turnout. I think there was 200,
Over,
200.
yeah, over 300 people RSVP'd. I'm not sure if all 300 showed up, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was nice to see a lot of parents in the school, and kids seemed really excited about it.
yeah, it was great to talk to some of the parents, and they were asking about the bond, and so it was nice to answer their questions, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Good. And I think currently, right now, we're having a meeting at the hospital.
Right now, at the hospital, the Time Is Now committee is having a get-together, and Dr. Cobbs was the first speaker, and then Ron Spencer is speaking also, so I hope they have a great turnout, yeah.
Yeah, Ron got me at the basketball game Saturday, and I think he was trying to encourage me to vote yes for it. I don't know.
How'd he do?
Ron cornered me too,
Yeah.
so.
I'm going to vote yes, but I don't want to advertise that too much.
We could have a better speaker.
No, he's fantastic.
He is,
He
he's
is.
passionate, and that's much appreciated. Anybody
Oh,
else
he
have
is
a
making hope.
board report?
Oh, I went to the high school,
Concert?
well, I was just got back from there, but a site council meeting, and they were talking about their piloting some different assessment strategies, which were very exciting, and then a few other things along those lines. So.
Good.
And the concert was good too, except for the rock band playing in the basement somewhere.
Really?
There was it was, somebody had the radio cranked up really loud. So,
That won't happen
See,
with the
that won't happen.
Performing Arts
Performing
Center.
Arts Center.
Where was the concert?
in the gymnasium.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Great
yes.
acoustics there, I hear.
You know, the acoustics for a band concert are not bad, really. They're not horrible.
Oh, yes, they are.
Well, they're not horrible compared to some of the places I've played. But,
For vocals, not so good?
yeah, I mean, it's live, it's loud,
Mm-hmm.
you know. There's no such thing as soft in the gym, but
Well, seeing Dr. Inbody has not arrived yet, let's move on to policies, contracts, et cetera. And I think you've been presented information about a resolution to broker our CDs. Are there any further questions on that? Clarifications needed?
I just had a question. If we do broker these CDs, and with the doom and gloom coming out of Topeka, will we be able to get the money should we need it quickly?
there's Dr.
I mean, because CDs are going to be 6
Tony.
months,
Actually,
a year,
this is
without a big penalty, is my question.
I believe so, but I really don't think that we'll be in that position to have to do that.
Okay.
This is money in a money market that we have at Bank of the West. We also have over $3 million in a money market at Kansas State Bank.
Okay,
That's the money that will be used to finish out this year. The monies that we want to invest in the brokered CDs are more of our contingency funds, the bond reserves that
okay,
we should not have to touch.
Okay.
And as you can see, we've got about, it's pretty conservative. We're gonna put 2 million in 6 months, just because the time frame is pretty, well, it's obviously short, but in September, that's when we're usually a little low on cash. So I really don't think that scenario would come up where we would have to, but if we needed to, we could.
okay.
So
Thank you.
swapping interest.
More basis points.
Well, David, I laugh because I never would have thought in my whole career I'd be sat here being happy getting 1% on 24
Yeah.
months.
Exactly.
Never would have thought we'd be talking about being excited over basis points.
It's amazing.
I would entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt the resolution to broker our CDs. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Passes 7-0. David, thank you for coming. I saw Tony, so I'm assuming
Came in and he left.
Brian
He
is,
left his notebook.
Yeah.
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
is shortly behind. Do you want to do the executive session now?
You want to go do the student hearing and come back?
Yeah,
Okay.
10 minutes.
Okay. Item 8, adjourn to executive session. Can somebody give me a motion there for 10 minutes till 5 till?
Mr. President, I move the board go into executive session for the purpose of discussing matters related to actions adversely or favorably affecting a person as a student, patient, or resident of the public institution, except that such person shall have the right to a public hearing if requested by that person, and that the board return to open meeting at
8:50, or
7:55.
7:55, yeah.
Yeah, 7:55, or, yeah, something along those lines.
Eastern time.
Eastern time, yeah. The executive session is required to protect the privacy rights of the student who is identifiable, and this will include Dr. Stroh and Dr. Kraus.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, we go into executive session till 7:55. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Passes 7-0. Return to open session.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded, we return to open session. All those in favor, raise your right hand. That motion passes 7-0.
Mr. President, I move we accept the hearing officer's report as presented.
And accept, is that what you said?
The hearing officer's recommendation and report.
Okay. Been moved, is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved that we accept the recommendation from the hearing officer. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Passes 6-1. If there's no objection from any of the board members, I'd like to go back to item 6.02, partnership with Neosho County. Is there objection from anybody? I think anytime we can hear from Brian Anbody, this is a thrill and a treat, and I think we should take advantage. So if you'd approach the dais, please.
No pressure.
Please lower your expectations.
Oh, they're soaring by the second.
We already got rid of the audience for you.
That's right, that's always good. I'm better in an empty room.
This is recorded on video and available online.
Oh, very good. I'll keep that in mind,
No swearing,
as I
please.
probably should. Hello, I am Brian Embody. I'm the president of NCCC, and I'm very happy to be here and allow this opportunity. Thank you for working with the schedule as we were touring all of the school districts in our service area, talking with the different boards and learning a lot about how boards operated in the different school districts. It's could write a book later. But I want to come by and give you a report. I'm a big believer in data, and I have a report for you about all the different classes that we've been offering here at Ottawa Public Schools over the past few years. About what? We'll have plenty of copies.
And I would be
Yeah, no,
really
you can share
interested in
this.
how other boards operate too.
I think you should give one to Dean and make him take a test.
I think so too.
There you go. The record was a 35-minute meeting.
Oh my, we are falling down.
We were waiting for somebody.
Good comeback.
There you go. Jeannie did this. For folks that
I
aren't
did.
quite as organized. Exactly, aren't quite as organized. But you can see all the different classes that we offer here. And one of the reasons we can offer that is a thank you to you for having a graduated pay scale. By encouraging your faculty to get graduate credit hours, it allows us to offer more classes here. And when they hit 18 graduate hours in a particular discipline, then we can bring a new class. And the fact that you reward that through masters, paying masters more than you pay others, helps then us offer more courses, because by the Higher Learning Commission, we have to have at least 18 graduate hours in the discipline in order to offer a particular course. So thank you for that. Your administration has been wonderful to work with to be able to offer these classes. I mean, you can see most of it is general education courses, and in the past there was some question about whether or not courses in the general ed would transfer from institution to institution, but the Kansas Board of Regents heard that complaint and now has established a committee, transfer and articulation committee, whose job is to make sure those seamlessly transfer to all 35 of its institutions. And you're looking at the statewide co-chair for that organization. I'm in charge of quality control. If that doesn't scare you, I don't know what it is. But I'm in charge of quality control for those courses to make sure all of them transfer between all the institutions. And it works like this. Once a year, the institutions get together, like everyone who teaches Comp 1 will get together, and they have a meeting to say, what are the outcomes of English Composition 1? And they all agree, from KU to Independence Community College, they all agree what those outcomes are going to be, and they go back and they teach that. And our job as TAC is to make sure that that happens. And then every year we add more courses to the list. If you go on the Kansas Board of Regents website, you can see 64 new courses are there that seamlessly transfer from institution to institution. So you don't have to worry about losing hours and transfer along the way. And what have we done? We've allowed students to take classes while still in high school. It's very expensive to take classes at university, and this cuts the cost cost and the time, because, 4-year degree is a misnomer. It's more like 5 or 6. Well, now we're probably trying to get that back down into 4 years. There's a group called the National Student Clearinghouse that studies college and university, how students take credit hours across the country, and they just announced last week that Kansas is the #1 state in the union for students who start off at community college and then get their bachelor's degree and transfer on. 25% of the people who got their bachelor's degree were a community college student first, which we think that's a wonderful a bit of success that we were able to bring to the area. So we're happy about that, and you'll also notice we do a lot of technical education, and that's through something right now through something called SB 155. You're probably aware of that bill, that it pays for all of the tuition and fees for any student who wants to go on and get their certificate while still in high school. We've been doing a lot of work with CNA and CMA. If you've been by our facility in Ottawa here, you can see one of the best nursing labs in the state of Kansas. I know that because we hosted a meeting there of all of the different nursing instructors from across the state. And then I got death threats from presidents across the state saying, "What are you doing building that? Now my nursing instructor wants one." But we're very, very proud of what we've accomplished. And by the way, not a penny in state aid or local mill levy was used in the building of that building. It was all done with student fee money. So we're very, very proud of that as well. So with those, one other piece of data I'll give you, and that is recently the Kansas Department of Labor teamed up with KBOR to say, what do people make after they finish their degrees or their certificates? And they ranked all of the colleges in the state. Among the community colleges, guess who ranks #1 in the state in dollars made their first year out of college? That's right. You might have guessed it. Neosho County Community College, $42,000 a year is the average first year out salary for one of our associate's degree earners. Just to let you know, KU, a bachelor's degree earner, made $35,000 a year. So the students with an associate's degree actually made more than students with the bachelor's degree their first year out. Now, over time, that catches up, but we're #1 in the state, tied with Pratt on the highest salary available. Technical education is real. It provides a wonderful way for people to make a living. And, we need to change the nomenclature out there, college bound or not college bound. That needs to change to post-secondary education bound. They all should be. If they're going to be a doctor someday, great. If they're going to be a welder someday, that's good too. And in fact, you can make a lot more money right off the bat with welder these days. A lot of people say, "I want my kid to be a doctor, a lawyer." A lot of people now saying, "I want my kid to be employed," and that's what technical education can do for a lot of students. And so we're very proud that a lot of our students are being hired right out of the welding program. We added the new HVAC program in Garnett. I know you have big plans when it comes to technical education, and we want to help program for that. If that comes to pass, we want to be a part of that and to help meet those educational needs. We're very proud of what we've accomplished together, and we want to take that next step forward with you as the votes allow. So thank you very much. How did I do? Pretty close.
Fine. You're
I was
fine.
talking a mile a minute, but I think I made it. Do you have any questions for me?
What was the precipitous drop from '09? There were 400 enrolled, and then it's kind of basically stayed about the same statistically. I mean, 70s and 80s, 100, but I'm just shocked from '09 to 10. It was 401, and then it drops. I mean, that's a lot.
And there that was the year we opened up our new campus. It opened up in spring of 11. And so that might be part of it, is that more students come on. Once you're accepted into the program, the concurrent program, you can take any class we offer. So a lot of people limit themselves to just the concurrent classes, but you can take any class. So they could be coming out to our place for those classes, as opposed to those offered here on site. So we may be bringing them over there.
Okay. All right. Well, I just wondered.
Mhm.
What is for the kids, what is the cost per credit hour? And like what English comp, is that 3 credit hours?
That's right. And so I think we charge $105 a credit hour, $108.
For classes on campus here, so $324 is the total amount.
And if it was on site at Neosho?
On-site at Neosho, it is 100, and I don't deal with that nearly as much. 118, I think.
because we charge a building fee, which pays for the bond payment on the building. So if you take classes on site, you help make the bond payment with your fees, but here we don't charge that fee. Right, and if you compare that to what KU charges or a private institution, it's about a third of what they're charging for the same class.
Thank you for your Eastern and Western Civ that fit into a schedule a lot better in the summertime since they're overbooked at KU. So I'm going to say that might be a good advertising to have a little sign up there as kids are leaving the campus at KU.
Yeah.
Western, Eastern Civ, because Zach loved it. It kept him on schedule.
Well,
Thank you very much.
That class has always been a winner for us, and we were able to, thanks to the good folks at KU, they have been wonderful to work with. And they've even allowed us to advertise in their student newspaper. And so we've been able to say, and what we'll see is a whole carload of sorority ladies get out and go and take, because we do block scheduling, so they can only have to come down for 1 day a week and be for a 3-hour class. And that's in the new highway. Yeah.
I want to say compliments to Neosho working with KU because they don't have enough slots. I really appreciate it as a person who got to pay your fee.
Well, we appreciate you doing that. Well, and you know, and we don't receive any mill levy from this county, as you know. And so when we do charge a differential. It's a little bit cheaper in Chanute than it is here. But of course, they've paid taxes since 1968 for the community college there. But it's still about a third of what university charge there, and for the same class now, for sure.
Other questions, comments?
Dr. Brown, are you leaving?
I am. I wasn't going to bring that up. But yes, this is my last meeting.
Yeah, and he has been very instrumental in what we're doing with our facilities, and so, yeah, that's, it'll be a big loss to our community.
Yes,
Best
we'll be,
wishes.
and we'll be looking for a replacement. If you can't replace Tony Brown, you can only hire someone else for the position. So we'll be looking at for someone to be your new liaison in the coming weeks and months.
It'll take many carloads of sorority girls to replace.
Exactly.
I do want you to know, Brian, that I have no fear of you chairing that committee. I fear many other things that come out of Topeka, but that one I have no fear.
Well, it's been very educational to see how the colleges and universities treat the same question, and how community colleges typically turn on a dime. Whenever Spirit Aerosystems wanted us to do training to put in a new factory for them, we were going to do all the training. Within 6 weeks, we had the program pretty much designed, and within a month after that, we were up and running. Versus how universities are very thoughtful, very methodical, and so it's interesting to be working with those folks because to see the different ways to approach the same problem.
More ivory towers. Well, thank you so much, and I think everybody here appreciates what Neosho County does for our community.
Yes, we do.
And we thank you very much.
Yep.
Oh, and I have a present for you. I
This
forgot.
is the reason he brings me along.
That's right.
Besides just being eye candy.
We have a.
Token of appreciation.
It is the.
Oh,
Thank you.
And I know the state law, it's the definition of de minimis, right here. And you can see our beautiful carrying case, the International Kansas
Make a
carrying
difference.
case, the Walmart
So,
bag.
thank you.
In Germany, that'd be Walmart.
Brian, where are we at with that? I know this campus has a phase 2. Where are we at in that phase 2 planning?
For our campus? You mean for the Ottawa campus? Well, it's based on enrollment, and right now enrollment is down significantly at the Ottawa campus. Now that's due to the our non-traditional student returning to work. Our average age is plummeting. Our average age used to be 29, and we're down to about 26 now as the older students are going back to work. We saw a 21% increase, from 2008 to 2009 as the economy to 2010 when the economy began dropping out. Now that the economy is coming back up, the enrollment has come down, and the Ottawa campus enrollment with it. So we have plenty of parking, plenty of classrooms available. No need to expand for a while. So that's where we are right now with phase 2. And then of course you're thinking about doing a technical education building, and that was one of the long range plans of ours. If you do that, then it would be as big a need for us to do one as well.
But your enrollment will certainly go up because with a partnership, will open in the evenings and summers and.
Yes, and other school districts that were in the area that were more reluctant to send folks down to Garnett because it carves out a bigger part of the day, now being closer means that they'll probably pick up a few more students from that. And so we're excited about what's going on. We're also helping out Lawrence Public Schools there with their technical education, and we're excited about being part of that program there. And we'll start there in the fall with some CNA classes and some welding there as well. So it's something that's spreading across the state, and I'm very happy to see it because there's so many jobs that are open right now that they just don't have qualified workers for. I'd love to say we're overflowing. We'll be building tomorrow, but the truth is, our non-traditional student prefers online classes to night classes. Because why? They can go any night of the week. Our number one login time for our online classes is 9 p.m. And so what happens to the American household at 9 p.m.? The kids went to bed. And so mom worked all day. She got the kids fed and cleaned up and homework done, puts them to bed, and now she goes downstairs and starts her, it's just a hard life for her. But we provide that opportunity that she can still get that. When we had night classes, she had to find a sitter for one night a week to get to class, and now she doesn't have to do that.
Very good.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Okay, we do not need any further executive sessions, I don't believe. We have been presented a personnel list. Is anybody? Yeah.
Would you allow me to make a motion to approve the personnel report as presented?
I would be tickled spitless if you would do so. Is there a second to that motion?
May I?
Yeah, all right, thank you. Sounds like Downton Abbey.
Well, Bill, you set the tone with your
Yes.
wonderful outfit this evening.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good golly, old chap.
All those in favor of approving the personnel report as presented, raise your right hand. Motion passes 7-0. Dr. Stroh, any announcements?
I do have some announcements. Our high school basketball boys will be playing in Salina on Wednesday. They'll play Fort Scott at 4:45. This week is parent-teacher conferences. And we have City County USD meeting at noon next Wednesday on March 18th from 12 to 1 here at the district office. The Mayor's Prayer Luncheon is March 24th, and I will make sure you have information in your board update on the time and place for that. We have a board candidate, I think it's just a candidate forum on March 24th at OMA from 6:30 to 8:30. And I'm going to offer an evening class from 5:30 to 6:30 on March 18th for anyone who's running for board to come here, and I'll go over the budget and answer any questions that you might have about current issues, including the bond election and so on. So if you're interested in that, I will also have that in my board update, and I'll be inviting the candidates that are not currently on the board. And if you can't make that meeting and you'd like to visit with me about any questions that you might have, just let me know. Happy to do that.
Any other announcements?
That's it.
All right. And I will be gone all that week, so for what it's worth.
You know everything already, don't you?
No, I am as one of the happiest guys you'll know, because ignorance is bliss. I think we've reached a point where we could accept a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded that we adjourn this meeting. And fifth, all those in favor, raise your right hand. That motion has indeed passed 7-0. Thank you very much for your service.
It has indeed. Huh?